You notice it first in a quiet moment, scrolling past a friend's vacation photos while your coffee cools beside you. The image is perfectly framed, a smile caught in sunlight, and you feel nothing, or maybe a faint stir you cannot name. Your thumb hovers, then moves on, almost automatically, as if the pause itself carries a weight, a trace of awareness you cannot fully claim. It happens without announcement. You do not speak it. You almost do not register it. The habit is invisible until you try to catch yourself noticing it. And yet, it feels as though it has been shaping something in you all along, quietly structuring awareness in ways that go unnoticed until reflection. Some people post endlessly. Some people do not. When you consider those who do not, there is a quiet constancy that feels striking. It is not emptiness. It is deliberate, though not always conscious. You wonder if it is privacy, restraint, or a different rhythm of attention, an invisible pattern of living that never needed explanation. You see someone at a dinner party, their phone untouched, a smile present in conversation, a laugh genuine and not performed. The act of not posting is not absence. It is preservation. A layer of self remains unseen, and in remaining unseen, perhaps more visible to themselves than to anyone else. It is not performance. It is not rebellion. It is habitual, like tucking your hair behind your ear when thinking, or pausing before speaking because the right words are forming. You notice it because you recognize a similar gesture in yourself, in moments you never articulate. Sometimes you wonder if it is fear, but fear would be louder. This is softer, a quiet deflection, a decision made before language arrives. It is ordinary to the point of invisibility, and only in reflection does it appear unusual. In these moments, you sense subtle shifts in perception. The absence of posting does not announce itself. It is their unspoken rhythm that quietly structures interactions and internal space. You sense it in fleeting recognition, a smile held without documentation, a conversation kept fully in the room, a glance that is neither captured nor remembered, but felt. Even as you watch, you notice contradiction. Perhaps it is choice, perhaps instinct. The act of withholding may be as automatic as the act of sharing. Human behavior rarely unfolds linearly. It is a series of quiet impulses, often contradictory, yet forming patterns that quietly shape life. Unnoticed, but persistent. You imagine yourself years ago, seeing the same absence in others, and failing to name it. Some of it is timing, a life lived in moments too fleeting to memorialize. But consistency hints at more. Some people consistently step back. The consistency itself is a statement, subtle, unspoken, persistent. There is intimacy in observing someone who does not post. You feel parts reserved for themselves, small habitual gestures, the micro expressions in conversation, the subtle pause before responding. These are moments algorithms cannot capture, moments not meant to be broadcast. And as you notice them, you begin to notice your own impulses, the parts of yourself held in quiet observation, the internal pause, the withheld reaction, the silent observation. There is something in restraint that shapes perception, not consciously, not dramatically, but through repetition, through the invisible architecture of habit. Attention shifts in ways you cannot measure, and suddenly you wonder, are those who do not post simply different? Or are they revealing something deeper about how minds navigate attention, memory, and recognition? You cannot fully name it. You can only feel it, hovering at the edge of awareness, a faint echo in your own cognition, a pattern you half recognize, but cannot yet define. You imagine the small repeated gestures over years, a glance, a hesitated response, a decision not to share a fleeting thought. There is continuity in these gestures, a quiet architecture of self that survives unrecorded, persistent in its subtle presence. You notice yourself wondering if you could ever adopt this restraint fully, or if the impulse to share is too ingrained, shaped by habits you barely perceive. And in the question itself, you sense the quiet boundary between choice and instinct, between internal life and external expectation. Sometimes, you think of the fleeting relief in telling something small to someone else, and you notice the tension that arises when you decide not to. The decision itself has texture, almost imperceptible, yet shaping the way your attention lands on the world. You realize, with quiet clarity, that even small gestures, held back or shared, leave traces in the way people perceive you and the way you perceive yourself. A glance left unposted, a thought kept private, a subtle word unsaid, they accumulate like soft echoes in memory, shaping the invisible architecture of your experience. And you notice that this habit, though unspoken, quietly defines your sense of self. The small choice not to broadcast a moment becomes a quiet rhythm in thought, a way of inhabiting the world that others cannot perceive, but you feel profoundly. You notice it again when someone scrolls past your own post and does not linger. There is no reaction, no like, no comment, not indifference, not malice, just absence. And in that absence, a rhythm emerges, familiar and strange, a cognitive pattern shaping interaction without announcement. You think about people who keep journals, notebooks, letters no one reads. Perhaps this is the same impulse, now manifest online as restraint, to inhabit moments fully without external acknowledgement. And yet, even as you consider it, your assumptions shift. Perhaps it is not preservation, but a quiet training of attention, a shaping of thought in subtle, nearly invisible ways. There is a moment when the pattern turns on itself. You notice your own hesitation to post, your own instinctive pause, and for a brief second, you question whether restraint is voluntary. Perhaps it is shaped by subtle social cues, emotional triggers, the internalized expectation of judgment. And perhaps, in noticing it now, you see the invisible architecture of your own decisions, the way thought and behavior intertwine, almost imperceptibly. The people who do not post move through life, almost invisibly, yet the absence is persistent. There is calm in it, a quiet discipline. They watch without projection, interact without documentation, feel without framing. And in watching them, you recognize the impulses within yourself, the ways you unconsciously modulate expression, choose silence, preserve internal space. You realize that restraint is not lack, it is observation, inhabiting moments without performance. The quiet architecture ripples outward, subtle and seen, but persistent. And as you notice this, you catch yourself reflecting on your own small gestures, the half smile, the pause, the deliberate withholding of thought. They mirror a universal rhythm, a layering of attention and intention. Then comes a soft disruption. Someone who posted endlessly now pauses. Someone who rarely posts now shares. Patterns evolve. The architecture is flexible, shifting with context, habit, perception. Your sense of certainty wobbles as you witness it, and the quiet consistency you assume dissolves into something more nuanced. You feel yourself observing, reflecting, reconsidering. The restraint, the attention, the small gestures, they are persistent and yet fluid, structured yet responsive. You begin to recognize how subtly behavior is shaped, how quietly life is mediated by internal observation, habit, and pattern. And in this observation, a deeper awareness emerges. The absence of posting, the quiet self-restraint, the moments reserved, these are forms of presence, shaping perception without announcement. They exist as a silent architecture within human behavior, unperformed, unshown, but deeply present. You leave the thought with yourself. The next time someone scrolls past, or pauses in conversation, or holds something private, you may recognize the architecture, and perhaps, for the first time, you see a pattern in yourself, habitual, quiet, and unspoken, quietly shaping attention and thought. The mind holds more than it shares. And sometimes, the choice to remain unseen is the clearest form of presence. Sometimes, the quietest moments are the ones that define us most. You notice, in reflection afterward, that restraint is not silence. It is a form of engagement, internal, measured, and profound, shaping life in ways that escape measurement, but are felt deeply. And in that awareness, the ordinary becomes quietly extraordinary in the smallest acts of withholding. The soft boundaries you set without announcing them leave traces in your perception of the world, shaping not just what others see, but what you see of yourself. And in that quiet recognition, you feel a subtle shift. Moments kept private may be the moments where life feels most full.